Hi there. Today I'd like to talk about competition. Competition when it comes to Rosie the Recycler and some of the different competitors that we have out there. First off, I'd like to just kind of draw the point here that competition is going to exist in any market. Regardless of what you're in, competition is going to be there. And we need to think logically about that. When you go to look at buying a car, small economical sedan, you have numerous choices. You have numerous different companies that are lobbying to have you purchase their vehicle. You have a Honda, you have a Toyota, you have a Hyundai, and so on and so forth. And the public is then drawn by marketing to what's going to work best for them. When you go to the grocery store, you have numerous different options when it comes to purchasing milk or any product for that matter. When you go to buy a home or sell a home, you have numerous options when it comes to what realtor you're going to work with. Basically, anything and everything you think about involves competition. And Rosie the Recycler, in so many ways, is isolated from so much competition, it's unbelievable. I just want to today make sure that everyone completely understands that. I get a lot of, and I've said this before, Jason, the Goodwill can handle that, or the Salvation Army can handle that, or the veterans can handle that. I've even gotten certain people that have brought in, oh, well, look, you know, the veterans dropped this off at my house today, and obviously, you know, they're doing it now, so we can't do this. And I am always just fascinated by that response. Someone else is doing it, so we can't do it. Well, first of all, I'm going to point out today why we're so drastically different than any of our competition. And it's not because we have a stronger air conditioner or more horsepower. It just truly is a totally different service. This is something that the veterans dropped off at a friend of mine's house, and he came in and said, "Oh, look here, you know, we can't. Someone else is doing it." But what people don't do is then they don't follow up and they don't read sometimes what the marketing is telling them. When this came to me, the verbiage that I got from my friend was, "Oh, there's somebody else doing a service just like this, and it's all completely free." And I said, "Well, I beg to differ. Let me see the flyer." And I grabbed the flyer and I started reading it. When you read this flyer in depth, and this is the veterans, by the way, by no means is this equivalent to our service. This is a program where they drop this little flyer off on your door. It's usually accompanied with a little bag, okay? I think the bag's a big giveaway here that the service is different. And they're asking for things. We need clothing, children's clothing, shoes, bedding, draperies, small, usable furniture, no TVs and no electronics. So you're starting to read here, starts pointing out that this is a totally different service. So for one is they only want small usable furniture, and two, they don't even take electronics, and three, they've given you a little bag to put stuff in, and then they've also said that on a given day, say Friday, there's going to be a truck in the area driving up and down your street, and as long as you leave that bag on your doorstep, they're going to pick it up. I don't know how that's anything equivalent to Rosie the Recycler by any means. It's a totally different service. And then you can get into the Salvation Army and the Goodwill. They don't operate exactly the same way that the veterans do. But like I've said before, try to call them. Try to get them to come out to your house and do a pickup. It's it's not easy. And then when they show up, they're only willing to do a certain amount of work. And they're only willing to do that work for certain items that they know that they can resell. And if you want to talk downstream even about what they do when those items come in, that's a whole nother story that we can go into at another time. But let's just basically say they collect a lot of items. Some of those items go to stores, but a big part of their business is auctioning that material off. And unfortunately, when most of that material is auctioned off, it all goes into third world countries and whatnot. Not a problem, but drastically different than what they market in so many different ways. But once again, not really a competitor of Rosie the Recycler. This is an organization or organizations looking for truly reusable items. They usually want the smaller items. They definitely don't want bigger furniture type of items, and they definitely don't want debris, and they definitely don't want the junk. So once again, how is that a competitor to Rosie the Recycler? It's not. And it goes on and on and on. Now there are some legitimate competitors like the 1-800-GOT-JUNKS or Junk King or Hunks Hauling Junk. Those fall a little bit more in line with what we do. And by the way, they're all thriving businesses in the same type of market, but they do things drastically different as well. Not all of their items are recycled. They pick items up from houses, they charge. And by the way, most of them, especially 1-800-GOT-JUNK, is about 35% more money than Rosie the Recycler. I'm not exactly sure the pricing schedule of Hunks Hauling Junk or Junk King, but they're all pretty much based off of the 1-800-GOT-JUNK structure. They're the ones that kind of got that aspect of the industry going. So, one, we recycle everything that we take in. Okay? Most of the other organizations in that niche all go to landfill. They do tout that they do recycle, but all of those operations are franchise operations, meaning that an independent person owns it, and they don't have physical locations. Their only location is the truck that they bought through the franchise license. So I don't know where all of this recycling occurs, but it usually happens in a parking lot where 2 or 3 of the drivers are sorting out what they want to take home and what they don't want to take home, and then the rest of the stuff goes to the dump. Obviously, they're going to recycle metal and whatnot. We get all of that. But there's a good part of their waste stream that's just going to landfill. And I don't think they're necessarily hiding from that. It's a pretty big part of what they do. So you could say that they're a competitor, but when you compete and you go to buy a car, one of the biggest things, especially in today's economy, we're looking for pricing. And we're looking for the effectiveness of that pricing. Well, here we just painted a picture that all of the nonprofits, the Vets, Salvation Army, and the Goodwill, it's a totally different ball game. It's a different beast. Now, there's certain deals that might infringe on us, but most of it's just nonsense. It's not what we want. We don't want to pick up a little bag of clothing. That's not what Rosie the Recycler is. It's a bigger problem, and everybody has it. So you look for pricing, you look for efficiency, and you look for the best deal. Well, here we are. We've just painted that the nonprofits don't really fit the bill. And now we're looking at the 1-800-GOT-JUNKS and the Hunks Hauling Junk, and we're about 35% cheaper, and we recycle everything. So we have a huge difference. If you want to put it back in the car terms, we got more horsepower for cheaper pricing. We got better amenities for cheaper pricing. We got a lot better for cheaper pricing. So let's not let competition scare us. I don't really think there is necessarily a competitor in this particular niche that we're going after. And keep in mind, you're contacting your family and your friends. So we really shouldn't get into a competitive back and forth, and you really shouldn't let it scare you, because it's totally, totally different than what we've just painted. So please, do yourself a favor and just think about what we're attempting to do here first of all. Watch the other seminars online, look at the information packet you've had. We're doing something different. And keep in mind, we've been in business for almost 8 years now, and a large portion of our revenues at eCycle Environmental come from the residential sector. We're simply trying to grow more into that marketplace right now. So competition doesn't really exist. It's up to you to I don't want to say sell per se, but handle the objections that you receive from your family and friends, or your church, or your mommy and me class, or your school, or your friends, and explain to them, hey, you got a bunch of debris there in the yard and whatnot. Salvation Army's not going to help you with that. Or, by the way, that garage is stuffed with a lot of junk. Salvation Army's not going to help you with that. And let me tell you why, and so on and so forth. So I hope this helps a little bit with the competition factor. There really isn't a lot, okay? Some people might say, well, Uncle Hank can come down here in his pickup truck and haul the stuff off to the junk. Well, that's going to cost Uncle Hank some time. They might have to rent a truck, and then they're going to have to dump it at the dump. And I don't know if you've dumped things at a dump recently, but that's fairly expensive. So money is going to go out the door some way, somehow. And time, labor, or an actual physical expense of renting a truck, hiring labor, or hauling the stuff to the junk. So please don't let competition be an enemy to you. Don't let competition fear you, be a fear to you here. It's really not all that important to what we're trying to do here. So please review the rest of the seminars, and especially this one. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Thank you.